Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Pivot Zero X Hub Masterclass. My name is Shantanu Sharma, and I had the operations at Pivot. For all those who do not know about us, Pivot is a global Web3 startup venture accelerator firm. We mostly focus on accelerating early stage startups in this space. I would like to invite you all to follow us in social media channels. I will, of course, share our social links later in the chat as well. Uh, as far as Zero X Hub is concerned, Zero X Hub is an open masterclass initiative by us where we want to enable the Web3 startups, not only the startups that we accelerate, but also all other startups in the Web3 space. And we want to inspire and aspire founders with the knowledge from within the industry. All our sessions are being led by experts in the field, people who are founders, investors, angels, and many more. We've already done about 10 of them, and we continue to do at least two or three every month on varied topics, really technology, Web3 sectors, products, goals, leadership, everything that can help startups grow and develop and survive and do the rest. We started this new series of masterclasses called Build with the Founders, in which we'll bring young founders from the startups that we are accelerating to talk to us about the tech they are building on and how it can benefit the entire Web3 space. Today, it is my pleasure to invite Abhishek Roshan. He's the founder and CEO of Metacraft. It's an amazing startup we are accelerating. They are building the next generation of an experience layer for immersive and personalized experiences through AI, machine learning, and extended reality. And of course, I will leave the rest of the introduction to Abhishek himself. Abhishek, welcome. It's all over to you now. Please take it over.
Hey, hi everyone. Thanks a lot, Shantanu, for the amazing introduction. And I hope and a lot of you would have definitely attended previous workshops, and those were focused on different topics: marketing, growth, tokenomics, AI, how AIs are doing well, how what is the adoption rate. So today in today's workshop, I will be covering little about experiences, how we have developed ourselves as a human being, and what is ahead for us. And that's what about extended reality and immersive experiences. So I think Shantanu, my screen is getting shared, right?
Yes, we can see your screen now.
Okay, perfect. So, about myself, I started my career as a CAD/CAM designer into 3D designing, analysis, simulations, and I worked with a couple of startups as well in their sales and growth domain. Uh, we started Metacraft back in 2020. Initially, we were named as Elgato Systems, which was game design and game development studio. A few months ago, our last game was launched, and currently with Metacraft, we are creating a platform where anyone can create experiences, 3D products, and interactive applications. And why we started Metacraft? There is a deep and very long connection. How I got into 3D space. I was suffering with ADHD, and 3Ds was something which helped me to understand more, learn easily, and remember things very efficiently. And that was one of the reason I learned 3D designing very early back in 2018, 2019. And though I worked into sales and different domains, I freelanced for a couple of different startups, and this is something a graph how it's showing like how different even in infant babies who hardly know anything about animals species or anything, but how we as a human have learned to react to different species. If you see, if you keep a snake in front of a baby, they are more afraid and prone to it in terms of any other animals. Something similar we see in spiders, snakes, crocodiles. So we have learned so far from last 100, 200, 600 years. Uh, Genetically, it's everything is stored through our sensory nerves, and we currently what we are using those experiences to build what we have ahead in the future. And these experiences have helped us to crave our memories, crave our understanding, how we have developed first camera to fast in the process, how we store our memories. And these photograph is finally developed to creating videos, movies, and finally we are in a stage where we are getting even more closer using immersive content, where you could be present in any country, but uh, getting connected with your friends, your family, living like thousands of miles away. But what is extended reality? Typically, we say XR. So XR is more kind of a bridge connecting physical content to digital environments. What it means is that you could be imagine a educational institute where you want to learn something and facing any difficulty. You could learn those things in more immersive environment much better way compared to what you could do in a 2D environment. And how XR helps in that is that it connects you physically with digital content. You could experience content in form of VR, what you do in VR headset, which you can get it from different marketplaces. Or what is now trending is MR glasses. Typically, best examples would be uh, MetaQuest, MetaQuest 3, where you are creating content or experiencing some content which is in middle of virtual and physical. Best example would be filters which you see on Instagram. You have your images which you can use a filter to make it beautify or add some content, like different dog filters, which was very trendy back in 2020s or 2019s. So those things are part of like MR content. And VR content, a best example would be simulations. You When you go to some game store, you will see different headsets which you have to put on, and there is no connection between a physical world around you. It's totally more kind of a 360-degree simulation which you can view with these headsets. And one very trendy example would be Microsoft Flight Simulator, which was recently launched even in VR version as well. And lastly, AR. AR is more of a augmented reality content. Something, if you guys remember about Pokemon Go, where you can use your phone cameras, you do not need a headset or specific glasses to view these content. You can just start using it with your phone cameras, where you have a different application where you need to first make it compatible with your devices. The difference between all these three experiences is that how they are compatible with different uh, devices. AR being more compatible with phone, VR being more compatible with desktops, and MR being more compatible with headsets. And that's how small graph showing how different content which currently we have are distributed. You see more of a video games and VR games being built using virtual reality. VR box was one of the very first application which was launched back in 2001 2002, and more than a million people that time who hardly had a phone, but were accessing it with their desktop. One more game which became very popular was Half-Life, which also has a PC version but was first launched as a VR game. Similarly, we have different headsets like Magic Leap, HoloLens, which helps you to experience mixed reality content, connecting you with virtual as well as physical environments simultaneously. Imagine having a headset and a controller which you can use to uh, generate content inside the surrounding where you are presently, and interact with those content simultaneously. So that's mixed reality. And finally, augmented reality, as I said, more of a Snap or Pokemon Go, or filters which you can check out on Snap and Instagram. And these are some of examples of applications which became very popular in their own segment. for VR Gran Turismo, for MR Pokemon Go, and for augmented we have Figma XR. And all these technologies may seem very new, but the initial prototypes of these XR technologies were built very early, back in 1980s. And here's a graph showing how the adoption of these applications and technologies have been in last few years. Despite uh, XR being built like 1980s, 1985s, still you see a very nascent phase because of the uh, uh, gap which occurred in last 10 to 15 years, where we saw no application or no hardware innovations last few decades. And simultaneously from last 6 to 7 years, we are seeing exponential growth in adoption of and innovation in these technologies. We saw Vision Pro, which came up like last year. This year we saw MetaQuest Orion, which is buzz of the town right now. And you can compare how these three technologies, AI, crypto, and XR technologies, have been growing significantly. If you compare the growth of the XR technologies last few years and try to predict what it could go in next 6 to 7 years, they are following the same trajectory as uh, as the growth of internet in 2000s. And that is something very interesting because right now we hardly have like 30 to 35 million users of VR headsets, but we have more than 2.7 billion users who are consuming immersive content in form of AR or in form of MR. And that is one of the reason you will find all these top companies who are launching their products being more focused on MR content. Uh, MR content, you can check out recently Geo, which launched their headsets with almost 800 plus different applications which have been launched in last 6 months. So it means every day more than one application was launched on their platform, which is a significant amount compared to you could compare it with Play Store when they launched. Hardly less than one application was launched in first 6 months. So far, any questions or anything? If you guys feel, you can just raise your hands or share it in the chat, so I can also cover it up. So back to the our slide, uh, and one of the major thing when you compare it with how, like, a lot of people say that the gaming sector is going to be the one thing which would grow the adoption, but when you compare last 5 to 6 years, after Meta renamed itself, after Google launched their first AR headset, you see that not games but more of a enterprise users are the major clientele and major consumers of these XR products in form of different applications, in form of different experiences, in form of training programs which have impacted more than a billion users. Alone, Volkswagen, which launched their VR driving program like last year, that single experience has been used by more than 15 million users globally. And that is one of the reasons why XR is being seen as the next top growing industry for future. But what is the major problem which is currently slowing down the growth of XR? Last 20 years, the one major factor was the software layer. Unity, Unreal not being compatible enough, not being useful enough to build content. We have now better versions. We have third party tools. we have SDKs, and we have a lot of new libraries also coming up. Like React has started supporting React Fiber, which could be used to build 3D content around web. We have Unity 3D, uh, which have improved a lot, added a lot of plugin features using which you can build content on top of internet and launch it in form of WebGL applications on browsers, making it much more interoperable for anyone who want to experience these 3D content. And now when we are in the second generation of XR with a better software layer, we see hardware as the biggest problem. And that is one of the reason when you compare last 4 years, when the hype around metaverses has come up, a lot of innovations have been happening in the hardware space, from flexible displays to thinner displays, transparent displays, and you will find even more exponential growth in terms of the technology we have in the display market. Already display market has grown more than 200% in last 4 years, crossing to more than 200 million displays from mere 70 million. And that is one of the reason in a survey conducted last year, almost 26% of XR content users and headsets users have said that bulky hardware is one of the major problem due to which they are afraid of shifting from web 2D content to 3D content. And that is one of the reason you see Orion, which was recently launched in MetaConnect, going at such a craze. Even Snapdragon launching their XR program, OpenXR, where you can create content on top of Snapdragon spaces and making it compatible with any game engine around the world. And this is something, a more collaborative growth around the content layer as well as on the hardware layer, where you have more lighter, flexible, and engaging headsets, which no more look like a brick or more kind of a boxes, which are difficult to wear and difficult to use it for a longer time, but are more stylish, more lightweight, and you could carry it anywhere without taking up more of your spaces. And you will see even lighter hardware in coming future, as well as Snapdragon Spaces onboarding some of the major names in the game design field, including Figma as well for 3D designing, being one of the later stage focus for recent Figma event which happened like a few months ago. So this is one of the reason why uh, I and a lot of people in the XR space feel that the next 5 to 10 years is something where XR content will flourish a lot. And even this is getting backed by the numbers itself. If you compare how the XR space has grown last 3 to 4 years and projecting it for next 3 to 4 years, you see a more similarity how the internet adoption happened and how XR adoption is right now going. Where you see in 2020 like 21.9 million uh, headsets, VR headsets typically being sold this year, 45 million, and the projection going to like 71 million. Similarly, you see how the user base have grown from mere 7% in 2022 and 8% for early internet users to now the difference being less than 3%. So now back to Metacraft. So what we are building is a more kind of a ecosystem tool where anyone can start building 3D content. 3D content being the first phase. If you guys are aware of how XR applications are built, usually we go through like 5 different phases. First, being more of a content creation, ideation, where you come up with early design sketches, idea sketches, which you can use to create the content based on those ideations. And using those content, you can create different simulations like animations or different impact scenarios which you could use in your game. And then you add your different physics and then texture and designings. And that is one of the reasons when we started Metacraft with a focus to change how game designing happens. The first step was definitely textures, high quality graphics, and content layer. And that is one of the reasons we we launched our platform like few months ago. You can check out on app.metacraft.ai, where you can start building your first 3D content and launch them as uh, interoperable NFTs backed by soul-bound IPs. So now coming back to the how to use the platform, you can start doing by creating a profile where you create your own wallet. So when you log into the platform, you have different options. First one being how you can create 3D content. So you can start doing either by image. Usually you do have some ideations, images or sketches. So alike which you want to create a content. You can either upload it on Metacraft or you can just type it in form of a text and you can generate a 3D content on top of it. Further, if you definitely you won't be using it just for one platform, right? We are in a world where UGC, user generated content, is the highest praise in any game, be it PUBG, where you have different collectibles. PUBG has partnered with 60 plus studios to build content on their platform. Fortnite is giving the sword to every user. You can yourself create some 3D content which you can sell it on Fortnite or use it on your Fortnite costume collectibles. When you create a content on Metacraft, you can stylize them, you can convert it, you can export it to any other platform. If you want to build it on Minecraft, you can just use the Lego feature to convert it to like voxel based content. You can also use these voxel based content to use it in Sandbox. And further, you can customize it for Roblox and different game design platforms, game experience platforms, spatial, IMVU, you can just name it. We have 15 plus platform support. So you can create content on Metacraft, but use it on any other game, sell it on any other platform while managing the control to yourself. You can choose how you want the user to use your content. We have a flagging system which helps out to monitor how the content tracking is going to be. You may create content on Metacraft, but in case in future there is some other guy who is relaunching the content without any changes or improvements, you can easily track it, how much your work is used in that content, and further claim it to be your. So giving you control back to you, where you have flexibility how you want to launch these content, how you want to use these content in different game applications, experience applications, or different interactive applications. So this is our API dashboard. You just have you have to just click a single button, create an API token, and you are generating a six character code which you can use in your web applications or while with your React code base to integrate any 3D application inside your web page or your websites. So why we are focusing with the API when we could give just a platform? Not all game developers, not all 3D content creators are using Unity. According to recent statistics, most of XR content creators you see on Apple Vision Pro, you see on MetaQuest, almost 35% of them are using some libraries, be it 3JS or be it WebGL, Babylon. And that's one of the reason when almost 30 to 40% of your audience is building in using these APIs and need some content which you can integrate inside your game. APIs are the best thing to go. Anyone can create these APIs. You can use this either on Unity as well. If you have a game already published, you can connect these APIs so that you can give your user a more interactive experience, letting them create different AI generated 3D content inside the game. Imagine playing PUBG while uh, typing a simple text to generate your own gun design and further using it while shooting. So that's more interactive experiences, also customizable experiences, giving your users a more engaged experience and more control. So far, any question?
Abhishek will take the questions at the end of the session.
Okay, okay. So back to the slide. If you see how we have, so I will be going to give you a live demo how to use our platform. So Shant, can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can see your screen. Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. So you can start with choosing what you want to do. Either you want to generate some textures, which you want to export it to your design engines, game engines, or you want to create some 3D content, which you want to use it on your websites or you want to use it on your games. So you land up to the design section where you can either upload some images which you want to convert it to 3ds. You have certain tires, so I have like 4000 credits which I can use. So if we start with like simple text,
Is it
so it
possible to
usually takes,
sorry, is it possible to narrate what this is doing while you are typing?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So what it does is that when you type something in the platform, it works in three different layers. In place of directly creating some 3D model, it first generates images for this description. So what I have typed here is a person holding a sword with a heavy armor. So what it does, it first generates images, which could be like 20, 30. So right now we are working with like 70 different images. So 70 different images are created at different angles. And those images are further reciprocated around 360 degree so that it generates the 3D content. So what you're seeing here is not a 3D image right now, but it generates a pixelated image, or you can see a texture. And this is something interesting because if you see most of the platforms which are currently available, you are generating a more of a 3D model using the text, and which have a more of a video layer, which search out for a video or then generates a video of a particular scene, what you type, and then convert it to 3D using nerf. So nerf is more of a radials, or you can say reflection based 3D model generator. The problem with nerf is that the quality reduces significantly. As you can see, even right now you have so many video creation platforms, Luma, you have Pika. The problem with them is that extending this to a longer duration, is going to be difficult. And that's where image based creation becomes much more easy, where you can increase the quality of these images to improve the quality of the final 3D product. So now if I have created this model, I can customize it accordingly. I can either use these stylized features, or I can just add some animations to it. Or if I want to improve the quality or mesh value of this content, I can refine it. Because if you see Unity or Unreal, Unity works at LOD6. LOD6 is more of a medium kind of quality based 3D models, which you can use on Unity, and those will work fine. Higher quality models have a very heavy cache space, and you will be facing a lot of difficulty until and unless you have a good hardware on Unity. But in terms of Unreal is much more compatible with high quality models. It lowers down those 3D models to a more monotonous 3D content, which can be easily designed or worked along. But they have their own different problems. So coming back to our platform, if you see, you can see the mesh structure. Right now we have, you can either customize it, either you can rework on these by adding the textures and necessary pixelations to improve or reduce the quality of it. So this is something what you can use for Unreal. Now you can either refine it. So what refining does is that it zooms out these images to add much more quality, much more pixelation inside these images. So you guys must have seen uh, picture quality improvement platforms, right? Where you upload a very pixelated platform, and the AI reworks on those images to convert it to a more highly defined image out of it. And this is what is happening right now. When you click refine, the 70 images which was used, those are first refined, and the details are added into it, and then it is reorganized and restructured to create the final model. You may see the 3D model looking same, but when you export it to your design engine, you will find these qualities to be much more improved, or also much more detailed when you are using it for doing any animations or adding some rigging into it. So it usually takes like a while, because apart from like one layer pixelation, you go through 3 to 4 different layers of pixelation to refine it. And that's where it takes a minute or two before you have the final refined version or the mesh of the 3D model.
So while this is rendering, just wanted to understand. You said something about building credits and all that stuff. So there's a credit that you
Yeah,
can see upstairs, right? The yellow
yeah.
button that is there. So how does one get a credit right now? How does
So
a
you can
user
either,
want to use it?
yeah. So either you can reach out to us, we will just update you. You can sign up on the platform, you can share your mail, and
Hmm.
you can we can top you up with these credits. These credits are actually craft tokens, which
Uh-huh.
yeah, which we are planning to launch in near future. Also, one thing what you can use in case you do not have a craft is we have a you can go on scale faucet. You can
Hmm.
redeem some scale tokens to use in place of these craft tokens. So right now, if I'm correct, so one scale token equals like 100 craft tokens.
Okay.
Also, these scale tokens, when you want to launch something, you can use those tokens to pay for the fee. So that's like 0.1 scale token to launch a particular 3D asset in form of SPT.
And these 3D assets, all of these that you either try to create, can have multiple different applications. So for example, right now you're showing something which can be very game oriented. So people want to create a game, character or something. Okay, either it is a playable character or non-playable character. They can build a character there. And how does it get this utilized for other things? Like, for example, they want to utilize it for the education system. All
Yeah.
right, they want to create a book that opens in front of us, and then we can see an animated, recording or something of a particular lesson. Will that be possible on the platform like this thing?
So that thing is which we call a game engine. So that part is in development. That will be taking live soon. But we have testing and trials currently going on. So if anyone is interested to build something or want to try it up, they can just connect with us, right? So we can just roll out the access to them
Sure, sure.
on this platform, which is more focused on the 3D content creation. What you can do is when you generate a content, you can use it on your own engine. All these models what you are seeing or generating in the platform, these are compatible with using it as a npc or non npc or as avatar as well. You can rig it to add animations to your models, or you can add different uh, defined features, so that you can use it either as an avatar or any other content inside the game.
Understood. Understood. So right now, this is more game oriented. I think this is taking too
So
much time. So, is there any way
yeah,
that we can
great.
stop this and then you can carry forward and do something else?
Yeah, so we are actually on the end of the session anyway. So we
Uh-huh.
can either just wait. I can show
Sure,
other
sure.
sections of the platform. Okay, so this is the API section. One of the game which we collaborated and launched like this year, early Q1, was Cineverse. You guys can
Hmm.
check it out on the Play Store. So it has almost 5,000 users. So when you want to create an API or want to add some content inside your games, apart from like these content what you made using the platform, you can just create an API token, and it is super easy. You just have to create a name, uh, maybe master classes. If you want to create some educational content, uh, we, when you use this API, you have an option to train the model what is the type of content you want to make. And using these tokens, you can train how the content output should be. You want to make it more game oriented, you can make it game oriented. If you want to make it more educational content oriented, you can make it accordingly. So it is not just game oriented. I'm just giving an example because game are like the most popular and easy to understand. But you can create content what you want to accordingly. Simple, easy, educational, or enterprise level. You can build it any 3D content and further use it in the engine to make an application which you can share with anyone else.
Great. Yeah, yeah, sure. I think that's good enough. I think what we really want to also know is what are the current use cases apart from gaming that, uh, well, not only the platform but XR as such, extended reality as such, can be used in, and what is the future that basically allows us to utilize extended reality in a much more useful manner.
I think that's a good question. Apart from games, if you see, uh, I mean, the best example could be simulations, or one of our recently launched application was from Volkswagen and BMW. So they launched their VR simulation application a few months ago, so that in their training centers, in their showrooms, they can add and enable users to experience how exactly a driving a BMW could be, and how it could be better, how easy it could be if you drive a BMW or a Volkswagen. So automobile is like one of the topmost sectors which are utilizing XR content. Second major sector would be real estate. If you see European Union and neighboring countries, most of these real estate project developers and marketing developers, what they do is that they create a 3D simulation, because obviously building out your own flat, building out your home, it takes years, but marketing starts very early, 4 or 5 years before itself, before the whole building is launched. And that's one of a major sector where you can improve how the sale is happening. Even in India now, we are seeing a lot of companies which are changing the marketing style from images. You see CAD based images of your homes, but now what is happening is that people are creating different VR experience for their homes which are being sold, and giving out the trials of these home in their showrooms. So when you visit some developer office, real estate developer, so you are going to find a VR box or VR headsets where you just have to wear it and you can experience how your future homes could be. So these two sectors are totally booming.
Understood. Yeah, yeah, of course. So I have had the experience of doing it myself in one of these real estate places. Of course, it was more two-dimensional, what do you call it, television-oriented visibility. This is what they're going to show us about the house per se. Understood. Uh, is your presentation over, Abhishek, or you want to still show
Yeah,
some more slides?
it's over. I think we can cover on the questions.
Okay. Can we also see your face as well and let the people also
Yeah,
know who
sure.
you are? Yeah, so that's very important. People should see you and recognize you as well. People have seen me for quite some time, so I'm not sure whether they want to see me any further. Okay, so good, good, Abhishek. It is pretty enlightening. What I also really wanted to understand in the form of an XR is and connecting that with the Web3 element. So, what is the Web3 element, and how can people who are building in the Web3 space right now currently, how can they use extended reality for their own benefits or their own business per se? Let's take, for example, somebody who's building a payment system. Is there any way that extended reality can help them connect with the in their business? If yes, how? I mean, this is just one
So,
example offhand came to my
yeah.
mind.
So I think we have three different questions. One being how
Yeah.
Web3 is element is there. If you see, like last year, every month
Mhm.
we have more than 200K different XR applications which are being launched, from Play Store to web launch platforms, to different 3D marketplaces as well. And when you have these many applications which are launched every month, there is the algorithm which is happening. A lot of these applications are using 3D content which are already launched by someone, but they have tried to sell it on marketplaces, but with some third party tools, these studios or some these developers are downloading it for free. uh, Ultimately the creators of these content are not able to monetize, and game design is one of the biggest space where the problem with monetization stays. Even right now you have so many platforms, Epic Games, Sketchfab, which takes at least 30 to 40% in form of commission itself. And you do not know, imagine if you have a 3D model,
Mm-hmm.
and you are someone who has bought it through me on Sketchfab, and now you
Mm-hmm.
using those 3D model, you list it on some other marketplace, and there are 5 or 6 different creators who have bought through you. Ultimately I do not know about this. I have no idea that you sold it to someone else. Ultimately, you made money, but I was the sole creator, so I had nothing. And this is a major problem with these 3D creators, because they are good with creating content, they are good with building 3D content applications, but ultimately they are not good with marketing and monetizing it. But someone else, some studio who launches using these assets, but have good marketing tactics, have good growth tactics, and can use this to promote some campaign, they have higher chances of selling these further in form of different collectibles, different merchandise, different 3D avatars or digital content. So With Web3, what we are doing here is that we are helping users to track and monetize the content more easily, seamlessly, and at much efficiently. So when you create a content on our platform, you are not just generating a 3D model, but we are storing a six-face figure to it. Imagine I myself, I am right now inside a room, and my images and how I look in different faces are being stored. So in future, let's say if you come up on our marketplace and you try to launch the same model with just a different name, but exactly same, every object has their own projections on these faces, right? And that is something no one else can change. And we track that okay, some other guy with the exact projections has launched the content on the platform. So it means I am the main owner, and this guy is trying to sell my content with a different name. So you can track how the content has performed, how much has been sold, claiming the ownership to the content as well, and taking it back to you.
Understood. Understood. Yeah, yeah, of course. I think ownership is something that can get really solved here. So if I create something very useful, something that is my IP, all right, and I want to claim it, so it is very easy for Web3 to enable that ownership and claimability of something that has been created by me as such, which I
Yeah.
understand. Okay, yeah, okay,
Also, it gives
yeah,
much more of a flexibility where you can lease out your content for a specific time to someone. So someone else
yeah,
can be owner, but for a specific time, and it gives much more flexibility.
true, true.
Also,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
back to the question, I would, if you can repeat the
Yeah.
other two questions.
My next question was, how does this if there's somebody in the Web3 space building something, so for example, very simply put, okay, because most of the Web3 space is covered by the DeFi industry or DeFi sector. So if somebody is building a payment interface, is there any way that this extended reality can be part and parcel of his business or his startup?
So one
Do you
example,
foresee do you foresee something that can marry these two industries?
I think already like in the fintech side and in the immersive experience side, lot of applications are built. Majorly, if you see, I will give you two example. One being DCB Bank, which
Mm-hmm.
implemented like 3D payment experience when you visit their store and want to like withdraw some funds.
Yeah.
You get a specific assistant which guides you how to do it, and that was very early back in 2007 or 8, but
Yes, yes.
through that it created an impact, and you will find a lot of atms implementing the same application structure.
Mm-hmm.
Second application could be I will give you example of maps, Google Maps. So Google Maps had more of a like 3D view, 360 view design.
Mm-hmm.
But last year they implemented XR content on top of them itself. So if you want to
Yes.
buy something, you are imagine you are on your Google Maps and you are finding a restaurant. You can view it in VR. You can view it in MR using your camera. How the experience is being in that place, and further make the payment inside the game itself, inside the experience itself. So
Understood.
XR could be used as a leveler, which could improve how you are doing, how you are having an experience in that application. Even retail side, you will see Walmart going ahead with like XR applications.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember. I remember I was in Singapore the last year, and I was moving around on the streets. Okay, and I was wanting to find my way to the nearest MRT station, or the metro, or the subway station. So what this basically allowed this instrument, they basically I was looking at Google Map only, and they said, okay, listen, if you do not know where it is, just point your camera towards the nearest building or something. So I just put the camera like this, and it came in front. It actually showed me, okay, now you turn this side. So on a live camera, it basically just simply said, just point your camera to the nearest landmark, and we will tell you how to go to the nearest subway station. And it guided me actually. I think that's probably one utility. So what you're coming to here is, I understand about the banking stuff also is more to do with service and maybe in-game probably payment systems that can be built in the DeFi space. Understood. Cool. Yeah, yeah, of course. And are there any questions that the participants have? There are very few left, but in case they have any, we can probably, we are recording the session as well. So this is going to be having, be uploaded on our YouTube channel as well. And we are going live on Twitter as well. So I think it will be live on Twitter too. But yeah, incidentally, I'm good. We didn't have that snafu incident in this one. So I think probably we made the right choices in the Zoom setup as well.
Hi,
Good, Abhishek.
Shantanu. I
Abhishek.
have a question.
Yeah, who's this? Wo Blunt. Okay, please, please, yeah, please,
I'm
your
Money,
question, please.
actually.
Hi, money, hi, money. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So my question to Abhishek is, so they are talking about the programmable IP, right? So Abhishek, I want to know, like, how exactly are you achieving it? Like, what tokenization standard are you using, or you are actually, have you come up with your own EIP, or is it an existing EIP standard you are using?
So we are actually working on current standard itself. We have partnered with Story Protocol, and using their infra, we are launching the IPs. So when you build a content, apart from just SPTs, you are launching a specific those assets on the Story Protocol, and using those, you can manage how the IPs have been performing and how the consumption of those IPs in different applications have been. So those are working on ERC 721, if I'm not wrong. Yeah,
Okay, so you're fully leveraging the story protocols architecture, and as far
yeah,
as my guess is, I guess you're fully, what to say, like you are wholly launching all the assets only on the story protocol, like their blockchain. Is that
yeah,
correct?
correct. Correct.
Okay, makes sense.
awesome. Yeah, I think we're at the end of the session. If in case there are any questions, we will wait for another 1 minute, and people can ask questions. And Abhishek, I was very curious. When it comes to extended reality, we have only come to know about people wearing, the VR cameras and looking around, or the VR goggles, and then looking around and trying to find their way in the industry. Uh, What are the best real use cases which you feel have still not been implemented as of yet, and something that is
I
in the
think
vision? Yeah, yeah,
I think that's something. It's more a kind of a curious thing, because if you see Neuralink
yeah.
is doing something very amazing.
I
If you
read
check
about
out
them. Yeah.
their blogs recently, they have enabled a blind person to see using
Yes,
VR as well as their chipset,
yes, yes.
and that is something way ahead. And a lot of people will it will totally change how we as a human being interact with the content around us.
Yeah.
Someone who cannot see being able to see, as well
Hmm.
as even we may need right now these glasses, but after some years we may not even need those, because we have someone inside of us helping us visually to understand how things are around us. That could be
Yeah.
one thing which I feel something right now, that is something very difficult. You can say we are still in 1990s of VR adoption,
Okay.
but that
Understood.
will be have a very huge impact
Hmm. Yeah,
to.
I think there'll be. I'm sure. Yeah, yeah. There's going to be a slow evolution of things happening in this space, because ultimately it's all about the use case, the markets, because of course people have to make business out of it as well, in some form or the other. They have to make money out of it, and it should also not be uh, too much on on the pocket as well for the arm janta. Okay. Okay. Hella has a question. Hella, please, yeah, please unmute yourself and please speak your question, please.
Yes. Hi, Abhishek. I'm Hila. And my question was about since you're in the industry and you have an XR startup, let's say, of your own, what sort of models or businesses are trending currently in terms of in startups in specific that you have observed or you have seen your peers going after?
So in terms of XR startups, see there are three different kind of applications or products which are being launched. First one being more kind of SaaS-based platforms where you can use a subscription model to ask your user to use the platform, build some content. Mishi is one great example of it. Luma was a great example of it. Until and unless they launched their video tool as well. uh, Other type of application is more kind of launched by studios. So what they do is that they collaboratively work with other marketing studios to launch a particular game with publishers, and these content which are built by these studios are further monetized in form of collectibles. So either you can purchase some model to experience some content inside an application. What you can see something Horizon is doing. Horizon has different rooms, different sections inside their world, where you have to either you can experience it for free, or you can buy some asset to use those rooms, either for a meeting, either for some operational use cases, or even for if you check out Microsoft Messes. So they have partnered with different simulation engines, ANSYS and couple of them, to enable you to stimulate these and simulations inside the Microsoft Meet itself. So if you are on a meeting, you can use these tools to explain in a better way how a particular CAD model or enterprise based machine is working. Also, third kind of model is more kind of a royalty based, where you could launch a certain application, you can ask your users to pay for it. Something similar to like Sketchfab, or you can say Spatial. So when you build something on Spatial, you have to, if you can either keep it free, or you can keep it for paid, and charging for your viewers in form of spatial tokens. So these three are like the primary ones.
Okay, got it. In terms of maybe consumer applications, have you seen anything interesting lately?
So in terms of consumer applications, actually I'm more focusing on MR, because if you see past few years, we had more kind of a VR age where you could play a game or experience in more kind of a VR format. But MR is something which is drastically picking up. MMA fights, recently NBA, when it happened, experience was built which you could use it with your phone to experience everything in 3ds. You can stimulate it in front of your table or anywhere else. So MR is something definitely picking it up.
Yeah, that makes sense. At least in terms of consumer applications directly, MR seems to be the best way for mass adoption, at least for now.
Also, yeah. Also, if you see, there was a company which recently launched Dassault. Yeah, Dassault launched a design simulation application where you could check out how a jet is being built inside Dassault. You can remove the parts using your controller and refix it. So that is also one thing. Enterprise applications picking up.
Yeah, makes sense. Thank you.
Thanks, Hila. I really appreciate your question. And in case there are no more questions, I think we'll call it a day, and we'll thank Abhishek. Abhishek, I think there, I myself have been a gamer early. I used to love games. I still love games, so I see a lot of things coming in the gaming industry, and it really, really, you know, there is a game called Frostpunk. If you go to 11-bit and you see the kind of gaming infrastructure that they're building, the kind of 3D infrastructure they're building, imagine having that in front of you and you are able to play within the game. That's going to blow the mind of people. So I think we are slowly evolving to that. that's a system in which you can actually be a part and parcel of the game itself directly, just like what we had in the movie called Ready Player One. Okay, so I'm basically looking at too much ahead in the future, but yeah, thank you very much, guys. I think we can call it a day. Is it okay? Any last comments you want to make, Abhishek, about the entire MR or XR related spiel that you gave today?
I think I agree with you. See, what I feel is that we go with more kind of a hype and dip kind of cycle. We saw back in 2005 the hype of VR. Then we everything was like silent for a few years. Then we got Google headsets. Then again we got into hype, and then we got into a blank phase. Finally, we have few things which are much more consumer based. No one imagined like any headset less than 100 comps at the same price of a phone will be launching this year, when last year we had like Apple, which came up with like $4,000 price tag. So that's a significant price drop, and definitely the space is going to grow, and more mass adoption is going to happen in near future. And I'm definitely bullish how gaming is going to be evolved with Web3 and immersive applications.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah, yeah. And there was a point in time in the last 2 years where metaverse became a very big craze, and everybody
Yeah,
was doing something in the metaverse. And
I think
there is
that
no
was
better. Yeah, sorry, you're saying something. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
no, sorry. So what I think metaverse actually is a misinterpreted word, because
Uh-huh.
when you understand what is a metaverse, metaverse isn't just a game which you can play on top of web or as an application. Those are just games.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Metaverse is beyond that.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah, yeah. So metaverse is, I think the one of the biggest. Uh, I mean, there are multiple applications in metaverse. People have not really understood metaverse as such. Okay, they were all trying to tinker with it, getting their own sort of a story around their own version of metaverse. But yeah, it was a big thing in the last 2 years. People wanted to build something in the metaverse. You can walk around, you can see your things, but people still like that touch and feel kind of
Yeah,
you can't do shopping without touch and feel, especially in India. Okay, so there are multiple applications of different kinds of reality text that we are seeing, and I really appreciate your time, Abhishek. You took us through what extended reality is, the evolution, the history, and how we come to this point. And thank you all the others who for joining in as well. I hope you took back something you learned from this session. Okay. Abhishek, thank you very much. And we look forward to seeing you again after a couple of weeks where you give another masterclass.
thanks, Shantanu. Thanks, guys, for joining the second.
Thank you very much. Have a good day. Have a good evening and have a good weekend too. Bye bye. Take care, man.